So what is up, family? I'm feeling super excited again. I'm feeling super grateful. Today's topic that we are going to go over for our future chairman's building training, guys, is telling your story, right? Guys, facts tell, story sell, right? Don't let that go over your head, guys. Facts sell, facts tell, stories sell, right? Super important, guys, that you guys know your story, right? Guys, every single person's story on this call or watching this video is important, right? You guys have no idea how impactful of a story you have until you start sharing it with other people, right? Until you start being that light of hope for others, that you're talking about, with this opportunity, right? With Global X Empire, right? So it is important that you guys know your story and that you guys master, speaking it to other people, because the more you share with others, the more, like, the better it's gonna get. Right, guys, I've shared my, y'all. It's funny because you guys tell me all the time, man, you killed that call. Literally, I just find ways to tweak the story so that it is something different. So it's not over and over. I go, if you guys notice, I go over the same bullet points, but I switch the energy. I switch, some word arounds. If I learn something throughout the week, I will share it with on the call. That way, I find a way to give value, right? Because in your story, right, you want to find a way to give value to those that are watching, right? Shout out to Mike, called me up today. He didn't even know it, but he's running this Wednesday's call. He was like, he gave me an idea, and I'm like, perfect, you're gonna run it. You're gonna be the first to test it out. So literally he set himself up for that. But I am gonna, after today, and I'm gonna give you guys an assignment so you guys can literally go ahead and type this up and send it to me, right? Because this is really gonna help you guys when you guys start opening up calls, right? At first, when you guys don't know the platform, don't know how to really, don't feel confident enough to start, sharing the platform, you guys are going to start by sharing your story. You guys will open up the call, whether it's for me, whether it's for Evelyn, whether it's for Christy, whether it's for Mike, who already kind of does a lot of presentations, right? But until you guys feel comfortable, you guys will first open up the call, sharing your story, right? And I'm going to show you guys the guidelines so that you guys can go. Once we get this call's not going to be very long, but once you guys get off this call, you guys can literally type it out, right? Because one thing that I, at the beginning, now I really don't ever type out my trainings. I honestly speak from the heart. I've realized that I only write my trainings when they're indeed, when I need to send it to a leader, or when I know I'm going to end up sending it to someone later. That way someone else can benefit from it. But usually these are things that I speak from the heart, especially my story. But at first, when I first started, in network marketing, guys, I was literally like word vomiting. It was like I wanted to say every single thing about my story, like from the very beginning, from when I was born to being on the call. Like it was literally, imagine some of you guys have been like, damn, that up call too long. Guys, they used to be longer. I've learned. I sometimes I even look at the clock to now shorten. I try to keep off calls within the 30 and the 45-minute mark. If it's a three-way call, depending on, we always want to mirror the guest on the call. Like, that's why I like to have cameras on. That way I can see people's energy. I can see if they're, if they're hyped up, if they're bored, if they're liking the call, and then I could tweak, things based off that, right? And the same thing goes when you're telling your story. Guys, sometimes I have started to tell my story and I could see people falling asleep, right? So I know I got to make a shift. I know I got to talk about something else, right? I know that I got to mirror the energy of the people that are watching, right? And that is super important when you guys are opening up calls, right? When you're telling your story, guys, energy, it is super important, right? At first, when you guys, especially since some of you guys have never even been on Zoom or spoken on Zoom, right? You want to have bullet points, right, of some of the key things that have happened in your life that have drastically changed you, right? Drastically shifted your course in life, right? Drastically made you who you are today, right? And these are the questions that you're going to ask yourself, right? Write these down, because this is going to be part of your assignment that I'm going to need you guys to send me back, because I want to read it and help you guys fix it before you guys get on Zoom, so you guys are not stuttering and word vomiting, right? If you follow bullet points, no matter if the actual story gets, when you bullet point it to 3-4 bullet points, you just have to always go back. If you get stuck, you just always go back to that bullet point in your mind of what it is that you were about to say. So where were you, right? Where were you? When you guys open up a call, right? The first thing that you guys are going to do is always welcome and thank everybody, right? Welcome and thank everybody. Guys, make sure you guys are taking notes. It is a proven fact that you're only going to retain about 5% of the information that I teach you today if you guys do not write it down. And remember, in this business, it's not what we know, it's what we can teach, because teaching leads to duplication, and duplication leads to momentum, and momentum leads to those residual checks that we are looking for, right? So guys, super important, right? You're going to welcome and you're going to thank every single person on every single call. It doesn't matter if it's an opportunity call. It doesn't matter if it's a training call. When you're a leader and you're now running calls for your own team, you guys are always going to welcome and thank everybody, guys, because time is something that we can never get back. So if for anybody dedicating a minute of their time to me, that is something that I'm extremely, extremely grateful for, right? And you want to let people know that, right? Second, right, you're going to start off by introducing yourself. Guys, what is your name, right? How old are you? Where are you from? What do you do for a living? Simple. What's your name? How old are you? Where are you from? What do you do for a living, right? What is your name? Where are you from? How old are you? And what do you do for a living, right? And then, right, you guys don't want to make this, you guys obviously you don't make it just like a script, like, oh, my name is Diana, don't make it like, oh, like a robot. You guys want to just be chill and just give positive energy to the people. That, remember, guys, you guys are opening up a call. A lot of people sometimes are new on these calls, so you're the first person they see. I hate when people open up calls and they're like, hey, my name is that monotone. Guys, remember, like, literally other people are taking their time to hop on this call, and we're talking about the largest financial market in the world, right? Guys, also, y'all must be presentable, right? And this goes for every single call. Guys, when you guys, you always have to be in the present moment, right? You guys cannot be running a call doing something else, right? You guys cannot be like, imagine if I did an op call while I was cooking, right? Or if I did, like, if I was doing an op call for you while you were doing something else. So you guys, I always, dude, even if I'm not done in the kitchen, I always stop what I'm doing, and I give it 30 minutes between the kitchen and this, so that I can compose myself, so that I can fix my hair. I put lip gloss on. I put perfume on before my call. I make sure my ring lights are on, because remember, guys, it is all about the environment that you are in when you are literally at exactly peak state, the right state. In order to sell a dream, you can't be looking like a nightmare, right? You can't sell a dream looking like a nightmare. If you just stumbled on this call, you literally, the lights are off, literally your hair's a mess, you don't have, you're not composed, how can you possibly sell the, Forex financial education, right? So you guys have to be, when you guys get on these calls, you guys have to make sure that you guys are presentable and ready, right? Literally, sometimes, I mean, and I'm not even gonna lie, sometimes I've been here like with 2 minutes rushing. I've been on back-to-back calls. I literally got off, I've been on back-to-back calls since 6 p.m., right? And that last call was running late. I have to make sure my music is charged. I have to make sure my computer is lit. Like, there's things that I have to do in order for me to be the best presenter for you guys. There's things that I have to get done in my environment. I don't even like that door open, honestly. Like, that's how technical I am about my background and my environment, that door, Mia opened it when she went to go outside, and it bothers me that it is open, right? Because I like to have all my doors closed so that everybody can see my environment. The same thing, when I was doing Monet, guys, what's behind you, it is super, super important. Guys, if your mom or your grandma is mopping the floors behind you, that is distracting. Imagine you guys are talking about the largest financial education and your abuelita is in the back mopping the floors. Like, think about it. We've seen, dude, we saw a guy on when in Monet when on the call, her husband was in underwear, literally like sweeping the floor. And literally, I wish I could find the video. It was so crazy to me. We were all like, bro, we're here doing a leadership training, and this guy is in underwear, and we could see him, and it was freaking hilarious. So your environment, everything behind you is distracting. If it's moving, especially if you're presenting, if you guys have kids, I understand, like, and if you guys, it's a regular call, but if you guys are actually presenting, it has to make you have to make sure that there's no outside noise. Like, I was on a call the other day, and with a prospect, I think, and you could hear the people in the back like speak yelling and speak and gritando in the back, and that's not only is it unprofessional, but it's distracting, especially when you're presenting. Imagine you're presenting and you hear people in the back yelling and screaming, and you hear abuelita, oh, the food is ready. Like, imagine, like, it's just super distracting. So make sure you eliminate all external noises, especially when you guys are beginning. Like, I can tune out noises, but for some of us, it's going to be super distracting. So your name, where you from, how old are you, right? What do you do for a living? Now, when we get into the deeper stuff, like the bullet points, right? Where were you, right? Where were you before this opportunity, before Global X Empire? Where were you, right? I always start, my name is Viviana. I'm 20 years old. I live down here in Miami, Florida. I own a super successful meal plan company that I started about 3 years ago after I left a long relationship. Right. So that's one of my bullet points, is when I started my business because of, my separation. Right. That's where I was before this. That's where I was. I was wifed up. Right. No business experience. I had no idea how to build a business. I got sick and tired of my relationship. So I started one. Right. And with no business experience, I started my business, whatever. Ran it down to the ground, ran it back up to number one, right? And then, so that's the first question that you guys are going to answer, right? And type this up or write it and send it to me. Type it up, because when you guys are on Zoom, right, and you guys are presenting, you can actually minimize the Zoom screen, and you can have your bullet points next to you. So if you guys get lost and confused about on your story and you guys start mumbling, you guys can literally just go look to the side. That's what I used to do with my trainings. I didn't memorize all of my trainings back in the day. I literally had to follow bullet points. So type it up, type up your bullet points, and then separate the actual paragraph or whatever. You don't want to write paragraphs. You just want to write bullet points, right? Because you can't be reading. You're not going to be able to be reading. Like, I don't like when people start reading off of a paper. That's like the worst. Have you ever guys seen that? You literally, someone's speaking and they're like reading off the paper, and you're like, bro, we know that you're speaking. That's awful. So you guys want to keep it bullet points, right? And simple, short and sweet, right? Like my sister says, kiss, keep it simple, sis, right? So where were you? After you say welcome, thank you, your name, where you from, what do you do, how old are you, where were you before this? Where were you before Global X, right? Second question, second bullet point. Where are you now? Right? Where are you now? Right now, I started, my business is up in number one. I realized that everything was going digital. I needed to make a shift. And these are things that I'm just saying, and you guys have heard me say multiple times, but it has to be your story, right? Don't try to emulate anything that is part of my story, right? Because it won't come off the same. This has to be stuff that has happened to you, things that are important in your life. And remember, guys, stories, the person who tells the story the most always wins, right? And if your story happens to touch somebody's life, then they are going to be sold, right? So where are you? Where were you? Where are you now? What are you currently doing now, right? Now that, because obviously I'm still working my business, right? And now I'm building this business, this organization. Like, it doesn't matter. I have a full-time business and I do this, right? There's no excuse. Where are you now? I work at this place, but I am a full-time student, right? I work a regular 9 to 5, but I knew that I was meant for more, right? And then so you start to add to your story, right? you know, and if you're a mother on this call, guys, remember, use things that are gonna relate to people on the call, right? So if you are a mom on this call, right? If you're a grandma on this call, if you are older on this call, if you are Black on this call, whatever minority, you know, whatever it might seem like a minority or might be like a handicap for a lot of people, right? It is not. It actually is not. It is actually your strongest asset in this business, right? The fact that you are a mom gives people hope. The fact that Christy is a grandma gives people hope. Literally, the fact that, you know, Mike is a little bit older gives people hope, right? We are hope dealers. And the moment that you're able to use your story and use what people think are weaknesses as your strength, right, is what's really gonna captivate people and really gonna get people to get enrolled and involved in your business, right? So where were you, right? Where are you, right? And then where are you going, right? That's number 3. Where were you? Where are you now? And where are you going, right? We plan to impact the lives of 1 million students worldwide, right? We want to build a global organization, you know, and teach people about the importance of financial education. Whatever you see yourself doing, you know, like, and so it's important that also, you know, when you are telling people where you are going with this, right? Remember, you got to read people's energy. Like, I don't go, I'm going chairman 750, right? I'm going chairman 1 milli, but I don't go on and tell people that, right? Because what if they don't care to go chairman? You know, what if they don't care to, they don't even know what that is yet, you know? So we want to just let people know that we're looking for, you know, we were looking for that financial freedom, and this is going to give us the ability to do so, right? I usually use my why. Where I'm going with this, I use my why. I'm going to retire my mom and my dad this year on December 31st because of this platform, right? You know, I literally use my, that's where I tell people that I'm going with this, right? I use things that people are gonna, you know, relate to. So if you're a mom, you could be like, you know, I'm gonna be able to give, you know, my kids the education that they need, you know, that the best education because of this platform, right? I'm gonna be able to quit my 9-to-5 job because of what it is that we're doing here at Global X, right? So where were you, right? Where are you now? And where are you going, right? When you guys open up the calls, right, it is important that you guys keep this short and sweet, right? Sometimes we'll go into our story and we'll go long. Remember, guys, you know, especially that sometimes people on the call, they just want to get to the bag, right? They just want to get paid. They just want to learn how to trade, right? So this is super, super quick intro, right? You know, even me, I've had to literally minimize my story depending on how I feel the energy in the call. That way I don't bore people to death, right? And I always switch it up. And you'll start to see as you guys practice your story, you'll start to change you to change things, right? Literally, you'll be like, oh no, I didn't like it the way I said this. I'm gonna change it for the next time, right? And you'll start to change your word, you know, and that's why it's important that you practice. Guys, you can't, it's like gratitude. People are not grateful because they don't practice gratitude, right? So it's the same thing. People don't meditate because they don't practice meditation, right? It is the same thing. You have to practice it. It requires a certain level of practice, right? You can't take the test and expect to pass if you don't practice prior, right? You know, it's the same thing. You know, Kobe used to go at 4 in the morning and shoot, I don't know how many times for his free throws before he actually got in the game to go play. So this is the same thing. Every single Zoom call I do, every single presentation that I do, every single event that I throw, right? I don't care if it's just my sister and Joselle there. I'm going to continue to present my story. I'm going to tweak it. I'll say it in Spanish. I'll flip the switch. I'll change the energy. I'll move around. I'll practice different ways of doing it, right? Till I find the one that fits the best, right? And you'll just mirror the people in the room and mirror the people on the call, right? So super important, guys. Always welcome. Thank you. What's your name? Where you from? Where are you from? How old are you? What do you do for a living? Right? Where were you? Where are you now? And where are you going? Right? So super, super important, guys. Remember, facts tell, stories sell, right? People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it, right? So this is important that you guys master this, because the person that tells their story the most wins. Guys, how many times do you think Matt and Jason Brown have told their story? And yet it's still, every single time that I sit in a room with Matt and Jason Brown and they tell their story, I'm always amazed. I'm always like, it's like they said it a different way. They shifted something, and it's always something different. It's the same exact story, except they say they throw a joke in there. So always, if you guys get stuck, if you guys get nervous, just go back to your bullet points, right? Minimize your screen, have the notes on the side. Obviously do not read from the notes, right? Because that is super distracting and it's not professional. So just keep your bullet points short, and just know, that these, just know, where were you, where are you now, and where are you going, right? And then the more you practice it, the more you're gonna get it, right? So that's super, super important. Once you guys finish the intro, right? Now is where you guys edify, right? When you guys, when we do two people calls, op calls, this is where you guys are going to start edifying. And this is going to be super good, because you guys are not only going to practice your storytelling, but you're going to practice your edification, right? Which you guys have been killing it. For all of you guys that have been connecting me on three-way calls, good, I mean, three-way chats, congrats. Y'all really, really out there growing, and I can see it, literally, congrats. All of you guys have been doing an amazing job. But when you guys do it in person, after you guys finish your intro, right? You guys, when you guys are saying where you're going, you guys are gonna thank whoever it is that got you started. Whether it was Evelyn, whether it was Christy, whoever it was. I came across, Evelyn's page, I came across Christy's page, I came across whoever, enrolled you, JJ's page, whoever it was, whoever got you involved, right? And then you're gonna find a way to connect. Obviously that person connected me with me, if I'm the one running closing the call, or Evelyn, and then you're going to go ahead and you guys are going to edify, which you guys should all know very well how to do by now, right? And if you guys don't, go back to the welcome text. The welcome text has, the edification, the edification video, and you guys can go ahead and get it there. Also, if you guys want to do your bullet points on the edifying, but always make it natural, right? You guys don't want to be like, yeah, my mentor this, my mentor that. Like, you want to make it natural, guys. Make it come out, in a natural way. That way it doesn't seem very script like, right? We don't want to be, network marketing, why it has such a negative taste to a lot of people's mindset and stuff like that, is because they're used to getting a script and sending it out to 10,000 people. They're used to getting on calls and just reading scripts out. And like, imagine, nobody likes to be read scripts. Like, no one. I could feel it when someone is literally reading a script to me. And it's like, okay, no personalized, like, no, it's not personalized. Bye. I'm not trying to do business with someone who's not trying to at least take the time to send me a personal, and that's why voice notes are important. That's why, every single message that you send out, you don't it doesn't, you don't like, especially, you don't want to make it seem, because remember, not every single person is gonna respond to the same message or the same voice note, the same way. You got to mirror people's energy, you got to mirror people's intentions, and you got to see how we can solve a problem for them when you're pitching something to them. So that is it for the story. I want every single person on this call to go ahead and type that out, from the very beginning. Then, and this is also going to get me, give me it's going to help me also get to know a little bit more about you guys, how old you are. A lot of you guys, I don't even know how old some of you guys are. So this is actually going to help me as a leader as well, see where you guys are from, what your stories are. And so it's going to help me get to know you guys also a little bit better. And now I have your whys, I have your goals. And now this is going to literally help you guys. Because remember, guys, it's not what you know. It's not what I'm teaching you right now. It's what you can teach to others. When you guys get people enrolled, every single thing that I am telling you guys, right? You guys are going to have to go ahead and show your members, right? You guys are going to have to go and launch your members. If your members want to go chairman, you guys are going to have to go and tell them and teach them how to tell their story, because they don't know how to tell their story. Just like you guys didn't know how to prospect, but now you guys do. Y'all didn't know how to edify, but now y'all don't stop edifying, right? Y'all didn't even know how to put me in group chats. Now I'm in tons of group chats, right? So it's literally, as we pick up momentum and as we start to grow and develop ourselves as leaders, let's make sure that what we are doing is that we're teaching and duplicating this down, right? And building a strong foundation of leaders, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna stop this recording.